Hey, what's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and we have some exciting news today about the all-new 2023 Honda CB750 Hornet. And I'm covering this solo today because Case is out of town right now driving some new Kias, so you'll see him in some car and EV videos coming shortly. So it's just me today, but like I said, we have some really exciting stuff to go through. So the Hornet is a nameplate that Honda has used before, and we've known that this bike was coming. We've made videos on it on this channel before, and Honda's been teasing some design concepts and sketches around on the internet for quite some time now. The covers finally lifted off at a motorcycle fair in Germany earlier this week, and now we know pretty much most of the details on this all-new model, so let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to touch on is the style of this new bike. Like I said, we already had a hint of what this bike was going to look like because Honda has been sharing images and sketches of it for a long time, basically since they said they were going to bring back the Hornet name. They've been sharing pictures of it. Now we have the fully production version showed to us, and you can see it right here, and it's very similar. I know there's going to be some people in the comments that are probably a little disappointed with the style because it is tamed down a little bit from what we saw in the design sketches, but you know, that's how things go. That's how it always goes. The design sketches always look a little cooler than the final production version. So if you look at the production version of this bike, not quite as angular, not quite as aggressive. You can especially see that in the tail section. It's a little chunkier on the production bike. Definitely some more plastic bits, not quite as streamlined as the design sketch showed the tail section. And then you also have the headlight. Still a very angular, sporty looking headlight on this model that we see here on the CB750 Hornet, but it's not quite as slammed into the forks and as angular and as low as the design sketch made it seem like. So definitely still a really good looking bike. I do like the look of it, but not quite as aggressive as we might have been expecting with the design sketches. There are 4 different color options, at least available from the start for this bike. So you have a pearl glare white and a graphite black, which both have a really unique red frame, but more interestingly, they actually have red forks up front, which is something you don't see all that often. You see a lot of silver, a lot of black, a lot of gold and bronze forks in the motorcycle industry. Not too often you see a red fork. I guess Tommy's Monkey has red forks, but that's the only other bike I can think of right now that's got red forks that's available right now. So 2 of the colors have red forks, which is pretty cool. You also have some more subdued colors. You have a matte iridium gray metallic and a matte goldfinch yellow as well. This is meant to be a practical motorcycle. Honda's showing it with saddlebags and tail bags and the ability to bring along luggage with you. So yes, this is supposed to be a sporty model. It's meant to compete with bikes like Yamaha's MT-07 and even the MT-09. In fact, when we get into the engine, you'll see that this kind of sits right in between those 2 bikes. But it's not purely a sport bike. Honda thinks people are going to be commuting on these and using them to get around town, especially overseas where motorcycles are more of a popular transportation method and less of a toy like they are here in the United States. All right, let's jump into the engine. This is an all-new engine, and we've known some details about this because Honda actually put out a press release on just the specs and the details of this engine before they announced the full Hornet motorcycle. And this engine is expected to make it into other models. That's usually how it goes in the motorcycle industry. It costs a lot of money to develop a brand new engine, so most of the manufacturers want to make sure that they can put this engine into as many different models as possible. So yes, we are expecting this engine to come into more motorcycles from Honda in the future, but as of now, this is the first motorcycle that gets this all-new engine. So it's a 755cc parallel twin that makes 90 horsepower and 55 foot-pounds of torque, and that peak power comes in at 9,500 RPM. One of the most notable parts of this new engine is it's got a 270-degree crank. So you have that uneven firing order. Honda says that you get a V-twin-like pulse feeling when you're riding this bike. And we've ridden a number of bikes with a 270-degree crank here at TFL, and in all of them, lots of character out of the engine and very good sound as well. You get really good sound out of that 270-degree crank. So I'm really excited to kind of hear this run for the first time and see it up close in person. And hopefully I can get some seat time on it, because I'm really excited to see what Honda's done with this engine. Like I said, the MT-07 has that same 270-degree crank. Not the same one, but they're using the same technology, you know what I mean? And I love that bike. I've owned one of those, and the Tenere 700 uses that same engine, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I'm really excited to see if Honda can give Yamaha a run for their money with this new engine. A few other details about this engine. The cylinders are coated with a nickel silicon carbide coating, which is a pretty advanced technology that they're pulling off of the CBR 1000 RR-R Fireblade, quite the name. Also, the CRF 450R uses that. 8-valve unicam head. It's got a slipper clutch. It's rated at 54 miles per gallon with about a 211 mile range and a 127 mile per hour top speed. And that's basically everything we know about this new engine. There are some, more nitty and gritty specs if you're interested in like bore and stroke and everything like that, and want really all the details, compression, everything you can know about this engine. You can find that on Honda's website. Read the press release, and you could really get down to the nitty and gritty with this new engine. But yeah, this is the first model it's going into. Like I said, we're expecting it to come into other models in the future. A lot of people on the internet think that the next thing this is going to go into is some sort of smaller adventure bike or smaller version of the Africa Twin, like a Transalp. The frame, I talked about how, it's got this bright red frame on some of these color options. Unique frame to this bike. It's an all-new frame. It weighs less than 37 pounds according to Honda, and the bike itself has a 418-pound curb weight. So not exactly the lightest motorcycle in the world in terms of bikes in this class, but definitely not terrible. Should still be pretty flickable, and you're looking at a 31.3-inch seat height, so definitely not super intimidating. It should be easy for riders of all sizes to get their feet down on the ground. As far as suspension and stuff, you've got inverted 41mm Showa forks. Rear shock has adjustable preload. At the rear, you have a 160 width rear tire, 120 width up front, and 17-inch wheels front and back, as you would come to expect on a naked street bike like this. As far as technology goes, we're looking at a 5-inch TFT display up front, which I think looks pretty good. 5 inches is definitely a decent size for a bike like this, and it looks like you have all the information you could ever need right in front of you there. It is ride-by-wire, so you do have the option for different power modes and stuff, different riding modes. So the bike has adjustable power modes, engine brake modes, torque control, and wheelie control modes. There's 3 different riding modes that kind of universally adjust the settings and all those 4 different parameters as you go through them. So you have rain, standard, and sport, and that'll adjust everything for you. But there's also a 4th custom riding mode, so you can dial in your power, engine braking, torque control, wheelie control exactly to the setting that you want it, and make it, totally customizable for you. Honda's also offering some accessory packs. I talked about how they're showing it with some side cases and top cases, things like that, to store your helmets and other luggage if you're commuting on the bike. But there are also some packs they're selling accessories in, so a sport package, a style package, and a touring package, which gives you things like fly screens, quick shifters, frame sliders. There's a bunch of accessories Honda's come up with for this bike right here. So some accessories available if you're interested in that kind of thing. There's pretty much everything we know about it so far. From the looks of it, it looks like it could be a really solid MT-07 or even MT-09 competitor. at least in my eyes, it seemed like Yamaha has kind of dominated that space for a little bit. All the manufacturers have bikes that compete in this space, but the most popular options seem to be the Yamahas. So I'm really excited for this to make it over here, or hopefully make it over here. More on that in a second. But yeah, more competition is always better for all of us. It means that the manufacturers really need to try hard to make good bikes and compete for the customers' money, basically. So yeah, never a bad thing to see a new motorcycle, especially in this class. This is one of my favorite classes of motorcycles, which is kind of the middleweight naked sport bike. They're just super fun, lightweight, flickable, nimble, not too much power that it's gonna, scare the crap out of someone who's kind of new to riding, but also plenty enough power that someone that's been on the bike for decades can have a hell of a lot of fun. So again, really excited for this model to make it into the hands of journalists and owners and just start seeing what it's all about. Let's talk about pricing and availability. We don't know much yet. No pricing. We expect it to be probably around $10,000. We'll see. I'd say 9 is probably a good guess. I forget exactly. I don't have the pricing of the Yamahas pulled up in front of me, but Case and I did a video before where we compared the pricing to the MT-07 and the MT-09. I believe we said we expected it right around $9,000, but that's when we had more notes in front of us. So don't quote me on that. Pricing is unannounced yet. Availability unannounced. It is confirmed a 2023 model year. And what else isn't confirmed is US availability. So this was announced in Germany. It's confirmed for European markets. No word from Honda yet on whether or not this is coming to the US, but I would bet my money on it. Like I said, the Yamahas have been a very popular bike here in the States. This class of motorcycle is a very popular one here in the US. And usually it's like the smaller displacement bikes and scooters that don't make their way over here. This, I think, will sell like crazy here in the US if it makes it here. So I think we should expect it here. It just usually takes some time. Usually the bikes get announced for Europe a few months or a few weeks before they're announced here for the US. So we'll just have to wait and see, but stay tuned to alltfl.com. So as soon as we get info on that, you'll be sure to stay up to date. And yeah, seems to be a really good option in the naked sport bike middleweight class. Seems like now with that 270-degree crank, you have an all-new parallel twin engine, 90 horsepower. That's definitely a lot of power for a bike like this. Seems to be decent braking and suspension components. So yeah, I can't wait to hopefully get some seat time on this. Honda, please bring this one to the States. I think it'll sell real well. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to, like I said, head on over to alltfl.com. Catch you in the next video.